Hello, Watch Chit Chat here with your reminder that life is short. Buy the watch. I've got a bit of a quandary and I thought I'd throw it out to the audience to get your thoughts on it. I was looking at modern watches and watch classifications and I was wondering whether modern watches will ever be classified as vintage one day. And so I'll share some thoughts and then throw it out to yourselves and let me know what you think in the comments. So based on the classifications I've looked up, antique watches are typically watches that are 100 years or older. And then vintage watches are between 20 to 99 years old. However, there's another confusing category called neo-vintage, which is typically between 20 to 40 years old. Most of these definitions are defined by watch characteristics. Antiques are pretty self-explanatory. They're extremely aged, and while they do hold historical significance, are unlikely to be really useful tools in the current age. Probably more museum pieces or collections. Vintage watches is where it's a little bit different. So they're watches that are typically defined by its characteristics, its design language, materials. And the irony is that a lot of the characteristics such as patina, movements, lume, using tritium and different material types are largely due to inferior materials that were available at the time when these watches were made. Hence, this is why I'm asking the question, because, well, we now have modern watches which are classic design and inspired by the design language but using all modern materials. So the point is that you've got vintage watches which will continue to age and patina and likely show signs of that aging, as opposed to modern watches which, because of material science and advancements in materials, they're unlikely to age the same way and you won't get the same vintage feel. So when this becomes 20 years old, is it vintage or not? Now you get silicon and you get a lot of ceramic parts, and with that means that whilst there's a design language inspired from past iterations, these won't patina in the same way. In fact, the lume on these watches are likely to stay for a very long time, and the ceramic and glass is likely to look brand new throughout the whole life of the watch. The only thing you'll get is probably signs of wear of the materials of the steel, in which case they can be polished up and tidied up anyway. So most of the modern watches, because of advancements in material science, won't ever show the characteristics of vintage watches. So will they be vintage? And then there's another weird one, retro watches. Watches that are modern but with vintage inspired designs, such as the faux patina on this one. It still draws on the broad arrow hands along with the classic link bracelet, but the movements are far more advanced and modern. It also has an aluminium bezel insert, which is going back to some of the vintage feel. However, this watch is unlikely to ever show the same signs of aging. So what do you call a modern watch once it becomes over 20 years old? Are they called timeless classics? Are they called modern vintage? Because of a reference to the use of modern materials? Or are they just called vintage? I don't know. I'm just a bit curious as to where it will go. So what terminology do you think it is? Let me know in the comments and I'd be really interested to see what you come up with. Also, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe, and remember, life's short. Buy the watch.